What's the
Yes, we are live. You're watching the Armoury TV, and bit nervy towards the end, but let's hit the intro. Let's introduce my guest, and we'll get straight into it. Yes, good evening, and this is the reaction to Arsenal 1, FC Zurich 0. Moss, welcome all the way from Canada. How are we, sir?
Oh, it's already starting to get dark after 5 p.m. here, and we got our first little snow last night, and everyone's getting their winter tires on. But man, that was turning my stomach towards the end. And by the way, that intro rocks. It always pumps me up.
Yeah, it does get us all in the mood, and especially after a win. Look, listen, at the end of the day,
like you said, Tony's job was done, but
yeah,
man, it was nervy.
it was all about the result. We got the job done, and we don't have those extra games in February, and that's what it was all about. So let's look at the lineup. What were your initial thoughts on the lineup?
It was pretty close to what I had. I mean, I said Cedric because everyone keeps saying he's going to get in Europa, but I didn't want him. I was happy Ben White was in. I had Martinelli starting. I don't know about you, but I thought he would start Jesus because I was like, okay, get a lead, then we can make some subs, and Martinelli, I assumed would have been in because he was just, we're talking about signing that thing and how he was, feeling so good and going. I didn't expect him to play Sack at all, but I expected Reece Nelson. I thought Odegaard might get the go, even though I had Vieira earlier in the week. But he played good, I thought, but he got unlucky not to get a goal a couple times. And
I think El Neni usually coming back as well.
One more thing I had wrong. I can't remember what it was.
No,
I had El Neni right.
He probably left it in there, but it's not. I couldn't find it.
But look, we
saw right. El Neni come back, and I think he done quite a decent job, to be fair.
Yeah, he's a calming influence, isn't he?
Yeah. No,
and I didn't think Partey came on and had the right mentality. He had some terrible touches.
Yeah, and obviously you all picked it up in the group chat. He did look a bit shaky. I don't even think he expected to play. I think
that's what I think. I think, and me and King were talking about this on his reaction. I think he's in the chat maybe, but we were talking about how, and Luke Morrison was bringing this up too, that isn't it a lot of times you see in our Europa when the sort of A-type starters aren't starting and then they sub in and they just don't seem mentally into it. Like, they've shut off. Okay, I'm not starting this Europa. And then they get subbed in and they just don't seem ready half the time.
Yeah, no, it's true. And I was a little bit concerned when I saw Saka come on as well. I didn't want to see him come on the
don't
pitch.
Don't get hurt, Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, he only come off in the last match with an ankle injury, what looked like an ankle injury. Obviously, we know there was nothing serious, but
the guy kind of stepped on the bank with his ankle, so I'm sure it was hurting.
I thought it was crazy.
It was good that they got him off right away last weekend, and then so maybe he was just fine.
Maybe it's a precaution thing.
Coach. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. Let's go into the start of the game then. I think, they started the brightest for me, Zurich.
Yeah, it was pretty well up for the first 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a tactic. I didn't know whether they wanted to tire them out first and then we'll hit them on the counter. I don't know what the game plan was. To be honest, I couldn't really see it.
We didn't have our captains in there. We didn't have Xhaka and Odegaard leading the way.
I mean, look, I think Jesus was probably our best player on the pitch.
A lot of some of the reactions, Tony, people and there was online SofaScore, someone was talking about how Jesus, I think it was you saying Jesus is getting awful ratings. I'm like, how does he ever get awful ratings? Like the work he puts in, like my God, Jesus is the man.
They definitely don't do that rating by eye test, that's for sure.
And Eddie was good, like he worked hard, but he's just never
the end product.
He's that little touch, is always just slightly off. so it screws up his shot or it screws up the counter attack.
I feel
You
like he
know,
overdoes it.
yeah, like he's just not sharp like Jesus and Odegaard are like with their first touches.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think Vieira was quite indecisive as well. I mean, he should have got a
He's
couple of
coming.
goals.
Like me and King were talking about, you can tell he's very quick-minded football. Like he's up to pace with our team and the Premier League. He's really going to come good, but he's a better finisher than Odegaard, and that's hard for me to admit. Like Odegaard's my favorite, but
Yeah,
he's
we know how
just
much you
not.
love
He's
Odegaard.
not running around, buzzing, doing the tiki-taka like Odegaard's doing.
But I think the main man, and obviously the goal came from Kieran Tierney.
Yeah.
Took it so well. I
Was
mean,
he your man of the match, Tony?
I would say so. We'll get into the player ratings in a bit.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, the move that started all that, the ball from Reece Nelson, that got White through, White crossed it in, bit of a
That was a good ball by Reece.
little bit of a little thing in the middle, but it fell to Tierney nicely, and the way
Yeah,
he
was it
took
a
that shot.
handball? Was it going to be a penalty, do you think, if they looked at it? Vieira hammered that volley.
Yeah, but quite possibly.
It might have been.
But the Tierney, the technique was brilliant, and I think he was our best player on the night.
He was really into it,
and he looked like a proper leader out there as well. You know, he was everywhere. Not only was he going down that left side, but he was coming into the middle as well.
Maybe that's good timing, Tony, because guess who walked off with looked like a calf cramp again?
Yeah. He's made of glass, I swear he is. The thing
Eat
is,
some bananas, I keep saying.
I think what Tierney done as well is he was playing two roles for me, because I was hoping Sambi would play the Xhaka role today, which I thought he was going to.
I thought Sambi would really excel today too. But
I saw Tierney doing what Xhaka had been doing in games previous.
Yeah, like you're right. He was bombing down the wing, but he was cutting in too. Like he's obviously taking the coaching of what we want and starting to run with it.
No, absolutely. I'll tell you what, though, but look, as the game went on and it got towards the end of the game, it just felt very, very nervy, and all it was going to take was maybe a mistake, and then they would have got the equaliser, and we'd be talking about playing extra games in February. How did you feel about the end of the second half? What was your feelings? Did you think they were going to get anything?
The whole time I was, my prediction was 2-0, and I'm like, oh, we're gonna get the second goal. We're gonna get the second goal and end this. And my stomach was turning. Rami. Thank God that was offside by that guy, because man, he made a good save, but right to them. They had a few chances, but I was just like, man, one wacky, call where it's a handball or foul or
something silly,
own goal like in the past used to. We get nervous and it would have not went our way, but it just seems like this year we got more bottle in us. Like we don't screw up. We don't, we don't have that real testy nerve, and we're able to hold on to things. I mean, Saliba wasn't out there, but I thought Gabriel and Holding did a pretty good job. And
they had a few shaky moments, and I'm not gonna, we all know how much I love Holding, and there were a few moments.
Luke in the chat loves Holdinho too.
What are you doing? But and there were times that he redeemed himself, and even Gumza put in the message in the group to say he turned into KDB for a minute there, and with that long ball down towards Nketiah.
Yeah,
but yeah, let me just go through some of these comments quickly, because there was a few in there. Good evening, King. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Please do like, share, and subscribe.
King's my buddy. We do FPL shows together. He's quality Arsenal fan.
Yeah, he's been on here before as well with Bobby.
Bobby,
But let's have him back on soon.
Brenny K74, that was the best year, Brenny.
Even gents, we'll be with you guys. We've had a few. Oh, there we go. Everyone's partying, everyone's celebrating. Got the job done.
What does that mean? That when that guy said in the chat, I'm feeling lean. Is that like a little bit pickled, a little bit too many cervezas, or what?
Yeah, you could say that.
I've never heard that one.
Well, something else. We never looked like we was going to lose tonight. Well, obviously, Brenny pretty calm. He was probably sitting there with his feet up with his brandy, so he was never really worried.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Luke Morrison, always appreciate you watching and getting involved in the chat. Even on another poor lacklustre performance in the Europa League, but we've avoided 2 extra games in February. Hopefully, our players are up their level. Yeah,
And
I
look,
mean,
I
listen,
don't know
I
about
agree.
you.
And
I don't know about
it
you,
just
Tony, but I'm in some other fandom chats and where it's a whole bunch of YouTubers and things, but the Man U fans were going after each other. They were blaming it. See that, and that could have been us, Like
it's true.
they're
It's
mad
true.
about not getting the 2-0 and not avoiding the 2 extra games. They're worried about it a bit. Everyone knows January, February is going to be madness. Like
we'll be sat there in February with our feet up watching them play those one of those Champions League fallouts. It could be Juventus, it could be Barcelona, it could be any of those, Madrid, Atletico Madrid. So it's going to
be nervy matches no matter what.
fun. I've even had Man United fans say, "Oh well, we don't want to worry about the Europa League this year anyway." Don't lie.
Yeah.
But what Luke says here, he's right, and it is quite concerning because that's 3 in a row for me that we've not looked. I mean, even the first game away to Zurich, we didn't look too great. But it just shows that this team we play in the Europa League, they don't really play together much.
The Bodo, the PSV game, it just seemed like not interested enough, not intense enough, not motivate. And you
again,
can't have that because then it just keeps happening.
It shows that we do need to go out in January and get some more reinforcements. And
it pushes up, brings up the guys in the squad now too, and they say, "Hey, we're making a sign and we're going for this," or this guy's coming for my job, or taking some of my time. I got to pick it up. It brings the whole squad up if you're looking and bringing in signings like you're saying.
With that Ukrainian, what's his Mudrik's been spoken about again today. So I don't know how true that is because they're asking for a lot there. And do you think we're going to spend that much?
There's going to be some kind of bidding war, and that's what I was saying was going to happen to Nunez. That's what I was saying to Vlahovic, and I was like, "Yeah, we want him, but how crazy is this going to get with cost?"
It could get out of hand. Yeah, as much as we'd love to see him there. And also it was on the Gunnar King show yesterday, and Daps, the Man City fan, he raised a good point. He went, "Wouldn't you, if you don't strengthen as much as you'd like to in January, and you're still, let's say you're halfway through January, we're still looking good at the top of the league. Would you want to, if you don't sign any players, would you want to put all the eggs in the league basket and just maybe throw to Europa?" Because of our depth isn't really the biggest, the greatest as well, is it? So
I mean, you always go for everything, and
I would. If I'd throw anything, it'd be the Carabao Cup next week. I would play the kids.
That's the only thing. I want to beat Brighton though. That De Zerbi, that manager, man, I don't know. Right from the start, as soon as they came over, I'm like, Potter, what? Because this guy had them going crazy. Remember that first match? They came out against Liverpool. They could have been up like 3-4-5-0, and it ended up tied. But I was like, this coach knows what he's doing. They're gonna play for him. So yeah, that'll be a tough Carabao Cup. You're right. I don't know how is it during the midweek next week or the week after?
Well, the Carabao Cup game. Yeah, it's next week. We got midweek. I'm pretty sure, because we're in November now, aren't we? So it's Chelsea.
Kind of like the Europa. Hey, we'll have a mix of starters and mix of.
I wouldn't mind seeing somebody. You don't know what Brighton's going to do themselves. Brenny says Tierney was playing like a man possessed. Yeah, he was, Brenny.
He was having great touches, and like you said, he was burning outside. He was coming in like we want him to now. Like
they couldn't keep up with him. They were trying to rip his shirt off and everything.
And he got. Eddie was getting his shirt pulled a bunch, but Tierney got a nice whack too, like stamped on his ankle, and it didn't seem to phase him too much. So that's a good sign.
Yeah, and there he is. He's correcting us. He's on the
Corona, not
Corona. Corona and lime, right? Love that. I was on a bit of a. There was one player for them who was really, really winding me up. I don't know about you. Was that Elite guy? Every time he got touched, you hear him scream.
Oh yeah.
Oh, but behave yourself. And
there's a few guys that are good, but they're not.
I think they had a game.
They shouldn't give us much worry, and they did. Like that first game, we played kind of a half lineup, and we really took it to them. in Zurich.
But hey, I'll tell you what we'll do now. We'll go into the player ratings. We can go into
What did
depth
you
on each player.
what did you before the game predict the score? I can't remember.
Oh, I went crazy. I said 6-0. I was a bit arrogant.
Oh yeah. Bobby said you went really. Oh, yeah, that's right.
But I only do that just to try and make Bobby laugh. That's what I always do.
Bring up the average. You want to bring up the average?
I just want to try. I'm going to break him one day. But anyway,
yeah, bring in Odegaard late, bring in Saka late, bring in Party late. I don't know about it. Like, did you really?
I think
maybe on then he just knew I can't go, 80, 90 minutes with this guy.
Well, he just come back. I get the old anyone. That does make sense to me.
I probably would have kept Zambi
I was just the only one I didn't want to see was Saka because
me too.
of the way they were playing, and it was going to get a bit, it was going to get scrappy towards the end of the game because they wanted to make sure they got that Europa.
PSV was only 1-0, and they had a chance to get conference. Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. If they'd drawn, maybe they would have got into the. I don't know, but they still had a chance to qualify for the conference.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's go into the player ratings. We'll start with Aaron Ramsdale. What would you give him?
Couple keep saves, not so much work to do. He's lucky that was offside.
Very vocal.
And the rebound, but still, a clean sheet's a clean sheet. You got to give him at least a 7, so I'd say 7.5.
And after what happened in PSV, he was at fault for the second goal. He kind of redeemed himself there a little bit, didn't he? And he was very vocal.
Turner didn't train. Did you hear much about that? Like, I can't believe he'd be hurt that bad.
No.
Turner.
I don't know. But Turner, I don't know.
Because, he wasn't training. Because I had him starting. I'm like, well, surely he's going to be fine for today.
He's probably still playing Call of Duty. There was a picture of him playing something like that, wasn't there? No, I'll give Ramsdale a 7. Let's go with Ben White at right back.
Solid. I was happy to see him out there because everyone was saying Cedric, which worried me because he's bad defensively. So 7.5 again for Ben White.
And he's been, and this is the thing about Ben White. He's been very consistent on that side. I think every week he has pretty much.
I was calling Tony at the start of the year. I was saying, why aren't we playing Tommy? Why are we playing Tommy? And I'm like, after a few games, I'm like, shut up, Moss. Ben White's running with this. He's actually better going forward than I thought.
He is. He's doing it really well. And
to be honest, you have that extra height for free kicks, going forward on free kick. It's not a bad shout to have, and he ain't slow, so he can handle it. And he's done a job the whole year.
No, I do. I'm a massive fan of Ben White. I like all of our centre backs. If I'm completely honest, I'm a centre back guy, as you could.
I was too. I was a centre. Well, we used to call it sweeper back when I played.
Yeah, you don't hear that anymore, do you?
Yeah.
Rob Holding,
Holdinho, the magic hair. Some people are giving him grief. I thought he had a pretty decent game, like solid 7, I say. And I thought Gabriel was maybe a little better. No mistakes, no fumbling about, no trying to be fancy. Gabriel maybe 7.5, but Holdinho 7, and like you said, what did you give Ben White? Sorry,
I'm with you. I'll give White a 7.
7.5. Yeah.
Holding, I'd probably scored, and this is coming from me of all people. I'll probably score him down a little bit because there were a couple of moments that if you were against some kind of quality, we probably would have paid for that. There was one where he kind of just kicked the air. So I'd probably score him down for that because if we were playing if that happened against Chelsea, they would have scored.
And I think if Saliba was in for either of those guys, it would have been even easier at the back. He's so good at knowing where he should be. Hey.
Well, I'll tell you what I like about Holden. I think he's a clever defender. He doesn't get many cards. Everyone will talk about the Tottenham game last season, and that's a completely different situation. Him and Son were going at each other. But
he got suckered into
he's very clever. If you watch him, and I watch him closely, and he does these little tactical fouls, doesn't he? That just to slow the game down. So he'll recognise that. This guy's going to beat me, but I'm going to be clever about how I do this. And he never seems to get booked for it. And that's what I like about him. And he done that well again today for me.
Where Gabriel does that, and it looks like he's trying to kill a guy.
Yeah, that's just it. Gabriel tries it, and he turns into let's not get into that. But because he didn't really do anything like that today, so we won't lay
He
into
kept it
Gabriel.
safe. He kept it clean, didn't he?
So I'm gonna give Holden a 6.5 because I think Gabriel deserves a 7.
Yeah, it was
So
7 and 7.5. Yeah.
Okay, all right, okay. So I just thought I'd score Holding down a little bit because there were moments where I think actually we could have been in trouble there. Tierney, I mean, I think he's going to be most people's man of the match.
Yeah, so far I've heard him a lot of man of the matches so far from people.
And I think, well, obviously it looks like Tomiyasu is going to be injured now. He's definitely going to be in for Chelsea for me. It was like he took this performance and go, right,
What about Zinchenko though, Tony? Don't you think he's ready now?
I like Zinchenko.
I think he fits really good to play Chelsea.
Yeah, but the thing is,
where Ben White on the other side,
I wouldn't want to take that risk.
You don't. So yeah, start Tierney, and then if you have to, you got Zinchenko still, because we don't even know about Tommy's situation now.
I mean, who? I mean, look, Tierney bombing down that side. They haven't got Reece James, have they?
Yeah. And so Sterling's usually on the other side. Aubameyang sometimes up top. Will he even start Aubameyang? I don't know.
No idea. No, I would take it. I mean, look, based on the performance today, his performance today was the case. I said, look, this is what I'm going to do. Right?
Yeah,
play me, and I'll do this against Chelsea.
It's a good thing from a manager when you say, "Hey, this guy came to ball today. He's starting the next game." It sends a good message in the.
And he led as well. He led the team for me. I mean, I know Aziz was captain,
totally did,
but he looked like the captain out there today for me as well. Vocal, played well. What score was you going to give him?
Sharp passes. I give Tierney a 9. He was fabulous, and
definitely
that concentration on a goal, as we know, that could easily be in the top stands. You know.
Yeah. Oh, it was so quick to react, and the way he hit that was it was perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm with you. I'm going to get 9. Mohamed El Neni,
solid,
back from injury.
I mean, he's never amazing. People call him El Sideways. They put crime on his name, but man, the guy doesn't make too many mistakes ever. Like,
no,
I like the guy. I call him El Magico because people.
I'm a fan of his. I love him.
People are always trash talking him, so I try to do the opposite, you know. And
I think we're on the same wavelength here.
So I gave him an 8 just because, man, that's a fabulous game on your first game back, and he really worked the ball and kept it safe, kept it easier. I think you're right. Like Holding and Gabriel could have had a tough time, but on that he made it pretty safe for them. Yeah.
I tell you what as well. Listen to this. He 96.7% accurate passes.
Yeah, that's
36 touches.
When Sambi's there, there's always a bit of shaky turnovers, you know. It just isn't there with El Neni. And Party came on, and look what we talked about. He turned it over a bunch of times.
He did, and he won most of his duels, and he only lost possession lost 1.
That's amazing in that spot.
And he only just come back from injury. And he's one of those players that you can tell that the players love him. Some of the younger players.
Great in the dressing room. Yeah. Happy to be there, like Holding, you know.
Yeah. He knows his role.
And everybody keeps saying it's their time. We got to move on. Well, why? You have a huge squad. You have a huge squad. You need 3, 4, 5 guys like that aren't going to whine and complain that they're not playing, you know, like we've had before in the past. You know, you need some of those guys, and they're happy and they're taking their wages and running with it, and they're lifting everyone else up. We need those guys.
And he loves the club. He loves the club, and you want players.
That matters to me. That matters to me.
So what score did you get to give him 8? Did you?
Yeah, El Neni.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. 8 for me. Who should we go
and
for?
People in the chat, if you want to give us your ratings, give it in the comments after. Yeah, big time.
Yeah. How you doing, Boots? Right, Sambi Lokonga.
Errol in the house. Big up, Errol. Your Garnacho looked pretty good today. Maybe Sancho's in trouble.
Sambi Lokonga.
That boy Garnacho, 2 good games in a row, man. He's impressive.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about Man United.
Yeah. Sorry.
No. Good. It was a good. Well, no, it wasn't a good result because I'm pretty sure they wouldn't.
It was the result I wanted that they got.
Well, as a result, yeah. But anyway, so Sambi Lukonga.
Sambi was good, like a 7, but I don't know. There's something about him and Eddie too. Like they so often have a bad first touch, and
Yeah,
not necessarily a turnover, and they're working hard, they're doing the business, but it's they're slowing down the game or they're on the counter tag. You know what I mean? Just because their first touch isn't good. And it's starting to bug me a bit about Sambi, but I really like Sambi. I King, if he's in the chat, he always gives big ups to Sambi. And I just wanted to see more, I guess, today, Tony, because he got to play in Jack's spot that he's wanted. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was quite upset because we saw it pre-season.
So I gave him only a 7. It could have been even lower, but
I'll probably score.
I would have left him on there too. Like, why bring Party? I don't get it.
I'm stuck with Sambi. I'm trying to figure out what his position is, and the fact that
I think he'll keep growing into it. Like, there's a real good player there.
When I saw the lineup, and I saw El Neni was in there in the lineup with him.
I was
kind
of like Reece last week. I'm like, this is your chance, buddy.
Yeah, I was excited for it because I thought, okay, maybe he's going to play that Xhaka role, which I believe that's his position. But I don't know. Look, I think he needs games, and I think a loan for him would be ideal. I really do.
I'm starting to wonder if we get 2-3 big signings, Tony, like January. Maybe Marquinhos and Sambi gotta go play somewhere, championship or on the continent. I don't know, but they need to play. They're at that age where they got to be playing all the time, not just once in a while.
With a player like Sambi, I mean, I know it's always cliche. I want them to play in the championship or somewhere in England, but
right now we still need him.
Right, but we still need him now. But I say if we was to go and get a midfielder to back up Xhaka, I would then send him. It doesn't matter where he goes,
because he's not going to play then, is he?
He needs
maybe a Carabao, maybe that's it. So yeah, you're right. You're 100% right, Tony.
I would score him 6. I was quite disappointed by him today. I was expecting a lot more. Vieira. Let's see, Vieira. He's a player that I like. He's a player I think that can do.
Bobby really likes him. We were following him.
I think he was just very indecisive for me tonight. I think that
slowed it down a bit. Like Odegaard doesn't. He really speeds it up, and that's kind of what Arteta wants. And I think Vieira will come into that. But like me and Bobby are saying, like, why does it have to be Vieira's only for Odegaard's spot? Like, there's only once this whole season now where they put Odegaard and Vieira on the same time, where he was playing Saka's spot, Vieira. Yeah, but but Eddie was up top. I want to see the Jesus Odegaard Vieira combo. That would be, I think, ticky-tacky amazing.
No, I can see what you're saying.
But we're always going to play Saka. But I just say that could work, and it doesn't always have to be Odegaard or Vieira, in the whole spot.
I would say tonight, the best thing he gave us was his passing.
Yeah,
I just think his final decision making was a little bit
there, where that one was blocked, and we thought it might have been a pen, and then Tierney scored. But man, he hit that well. He nailed that guy.
He did have a chance. He had 2 that he really should have buried. But I'm not going to be harsh on him.
You see some of those corners and stuff. He's got a wicked.
Oh, he does.
Wicked cross, yeah. Because you can play him where Martinelli goes too, because his left foot, his crosses are amazing.
No, I agree. I don't want to be too harsh on him, and I don't want to. I think we're going to see more.
7.
We're going to see more.
6.5.
That was not one of his best performances. But it wasn't really, really poor. So that just shows how good he can be.
He was active, more active than he's been.
But I will give him a 6 because I've seen better.
6.5, 7, yeah.
Yeah, we'll go 6. I can go 6.5.
Yeah.
Reece Nelson.
In and out, eh? But he made that great pass. Did you see where he got in the way? Odegaard was about to hammer a first timer when he came on. Someone gave him a great pass, and Reece Nelson came and intercepted it right when Odegaard was about to blast it. That annoyed me.
I think do you think there was any pressure on him after what happened? How well he played against Forest?
The pressure was maybe lifted, but I think he knew, man, I'm getting a start here. I gotta take this. But he was in and out. Sometimes just not noticing.
There were some things he done good. There were flashes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there were flashes from him tonight. I think it wasn't, obviously, it wasn't anything like Sunday. But then he did have better players around him on Sunday.
He came
So,
off when Saka came on, right? Yeah.
yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
There was flashes, and I
It's hard,
thought,
a 6 or a 7 for him. I might give him a 7
yeah,
because that pass was wonderful.
yeah,
To
that
set up
pass from
Ben
Ben
White
White,
for the
yeah,
goal.
yeah. I mean, I just hope he kicks on. Obviously, Saka will start against Chelsea.
And once again, I heard some comments from him. He doesn't want much money. He just wants to stay. And like we talked about earlier with El Neni and Holding,
He's been patient. We'll give him that.
he loves the club. He's happy to be there.
Yeah, I'm prepared to give him maybe a little bit of time. And he's a player I want to see do well. There was a time that I was
He'd
like,
be good
just
for
get rid of him.
Carabao.
Just
Now
get
the
rid of him.
Carabao Cups are kicking off. He should be
Yeah.
in some of those. Yeah.
But we'll see. Well, I'll give him a 6. I don't think he played particularly well, but I don't think he played badly.
I was only giving
So
him a 7 because of that great pass.
no, that's fair. No, that's fine. That's fair enough.
I mean, when you make the goal happen, he wouldn't have got FPL points or recognition on the stats, but he made that happen, and they never see that a lot of times in the stats.
Who should we go for? We'll go Eddie Nketiah next.
Yeah, he was on the left wing today, started.
Eddie
Hustled.
again.
He worked.
He worked.
He's just not clinical. He's just not clinical, Tony.
And that's my concern. That worries me a lot.
And even
when Jesus goes down,
even Bobby's saying it. Like Balogun is maybe getting better than him now, and Beereth won't be far behind. We secured him, and we're not giving him up for free. But if he kicks on and a team wants him, I'd be willing to sell.
Do you know? I was sitting there earlier, and I was watching Giroud compilations of his goals at Arsenal. And I'm
so underrated, but he broke my heart. Playing for Chelsea, he ruined it for me.
Now, hear me out though, but could we bring him back, even if it's for 6 months?
He's still in good shape.
For 6 months, it gives you that different option as well.
I don't think AC's giving him up because
the way we play football. I don't know. I don't know how much he's playing for AC. I've got to admit, but
whatchamacallit,
I was dreaming.
The best player in the world, Ibrahimovic, according to him. He's close. I think he's getting closer to be back. So what if he's all of a sudden bang and then Giroud be like, yeah, I'll take a loan back to Arsenal big time.
I think he still loves the club. Anyway, back onto Nketiah.
Yeah,
what are we going to score him?
I went all the way to Azerbaijan and Giroud broke my heart. Jesus Christ. That's hard to ever put him back in my good graces.
Yeah. No, I don't blame you.
So for what did you say, the rating for Eddie?
Yeah, rating for Eddie. I would. It's like you said. I think he was causing the defense problems.
I'd give him a 6.
He wasn't causing the goalkeeper problems.
He slows down the counterattacks. He slows down, and he gets it in the wide spot, and he takes one touch, and it bounces up, and then another touch, and it's like
I think he does too much.
Could have passed that, you could have shot, and you did nothing now. He
overthinks it, and I think the problem is
he had a couple good shots, though. He had a couple good rips.
When you watch him playing on the left, and you compare him with Martinelli, who's usually there, he's got no hope.
Yeah.
So I think 6 is probably fair. Gums will probably rip us to pieces because that's his guy. But
oh yeah, my buddy Creambone, he loves Eddie. There's lots of guys love Eddie, and I'm cheering for him too. But
I want him. But the thing is,
he had a couple good shots, but he's just so unclinical in the final third all the time.
Is he trying to be? Is he trying to be like Jesus? Is that the problem?
I think he's trying to be more like Henry when he plays on that left wing, but he doesn't have the touch. He doesn't have the finesse.
Because he does work and he does hassle the defender. Like
he was back on D when he didn't need to be a lot of times. He works,
I think he needs to be what he needs to be Eddie.
Yeah,
it sounds crazy to say that, doesn't it?
He is a good fox in the box. Like finds himself in the right spots, but does he bury them? 50-50.
I think he needs to be Eddie. I don't think he needs to be
anybody
the
else.
Jesus replacement because that's not
he's not even
because
close to Jesus.
we've seen what Eddie can do. I mean, he's
His
England's
touch
highest.
and his brain is so much quicker than Eddie's.
Yeah, but I'll probably be with you. I'll give Eddie a 6 as well. Gabriel Jesus. Now listen, I've just gone back onto Sofa Scores.
Yeah, you were showing that early, or you're talking about in the WhatsApp.
Yeah,
where someone was and you were and back and forth, and I'm like, how can they give him such crap ratings?
They've given him the lowest rating with Eddie, 6.4.
Jesus.
Now, I'm not even going to look at the numbers because I've done the eye test on Jesus today, and I thought he was incredible.
He's been incredible almost every game, and people get on him about no
finishing.
finishing.
The ball is glued to his feet. Did you see the one when he come in the box? I mean, look,
we've talked about this with Arsenal guys and other guys around other fan bases and stuff, and he's so much like Firmino, where he's so smart, and yeah, maybe he's not getting the goals, but and you could see it when Firmino, Salah, Mane were all going. He was creating space for them, and I've seen nothing but that from Jesus since preseason, all the games. Him and Eddie banged it one time in preseason, and it was amazing. Like, he opens up spaces for Saka, Martinelli that are unheard of, and gives them one-on-ones that they want and space. He's a super smart striker, like unbelievable.
That's the problem. That's the problem. As these people, they just see him as a striker.
And he works. He gets back.
They just work on stats because he's a striker. So he's not scoring, he's not assisting, but you're not seeing what else he's doing. And it's like you said, the Firmino thing. He's allowing Saka and Martinelli to express themselves more, like you said.
And it's more like, and that's what I mean about Odegaard Vieira. The big difference too is the pressing, and that's the same with Jesus and Eddie. Eddie works hard, but Jesus is pressing on the intelligence of it, where to be and when and how to press and the positioning. Him and Odegaard do it absolutely brilliantly together all the time,
and he's excellent on the ball.
And his touches it fabulous.
What he does is, because there's a reason why he gets fouled a lot as well, is that he draws players in,
and he's always in between. Yeah. He forces them to foul
players around him. So look, we know what we've got. So I'm going to give Gabriel Jesus.
He's been the missing link we've needed for 3, 4, 5 years. Like, unbelievable. Signing.
Yeah, and Arteta recognised as the well. He clearly fits the system, because look what we're doing.
And that's why I want my Jonathan David. He plays the same exact way as Jesus.
Yeah, I know. You're gonna big him up. You're gonna big him up.
You've seen it in the Chads.
Oh yeah, I know. But the World Cup coming as well, you're going to be excited about it. Gabriel Jesus, what are you giving him? I'm giving him an 8.
Yeah. I pretty much always give him an 8, just about a few 7s, a few 9s this year, but
I don't know if you want to go through the subs. Party,
I think, like I said, Party was terrible. I wouldn't even want to give him a ranking because it'd be shameful.
He did come on in the 63rd minute, mind.
Yeah, and Saka did pretty good. He settled us a bit. Like, he's always a good outlet, always available. But like you said, I didn't want to see him. I didn't want to see him.
Yeah, as much as I was upset to see him come on, we looked a lot better when he came on, Saka.
Tommy, too bad he was barely in.
The others we can't really score, so I'd probably go with Party 5, and I'll probably go Saka as 6. And then
I didn't even notice Cedric, as usual.
Well, Cedric coming in the 88th minute, to be fair. So, what would you give Arteta?
I think he pretty much had it right. So 8.5, but it's your job too to make sure the intensity's there, and I think he did well with the subs, which he usually doesn't always get right, and people complain, but he had the setup right. He had the mentality pretty much right. I could have seen a little more intensity from a few more guys, like we've said, but for an all in all, it was a lot better than the Bodo and the PSV matches. So you got to give them the ups for keeping the motivation there with the guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, we got the result. They weren't really a threat, so I'd probably give. Yeah, I'll give him a 7, because I was a bit upset to see Saka come on. I must admit.
Luke in the chat says he's always pretty low on the ratings.
Yeah, I mean,
Tierney man of the match. Yeah.
Jesus
Yeah,
is the
he
one that's
was
got me
low
there.
on Eddie too, like us. Yeah,
Jesus is the one that's got me there. To be honest,
a
Tierney,
little
I get
higher.
Tierney man of the match. That he
Yeah.
goes on to
El
say,
Neni at 7's probably pretty good for Luke.
I was impressed with El Neni. I like what I saw from him tonight. Tierney was very good tonight. El Neni very impressive to come. Yeah, after 2 months, we
Yeah, I
spoke on
agree,
that.
Luke.
Gabriel, no mistakes today. That's a very good point, and I was very impressed with that. But again, I
Big
think the
ups,
likes of
Luke.
the Congo Vieira Eddie just didn't do anything. I can see what he's saying. I can agree with that. There we go. He's upped his rating for Jesus. Can't give him any higher due to no goals or assists, which is fair enough. You know, people score differently.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying before the game. I was like, get the job done early, guys. So there isn't that topsy-turvy stomach feeling towards the end. And then get guys on like Matt Smith and guys that have been in the squad and don't get in. Like, I want to see all of them.
He's Gunner King. He's probably on the train back from the stadium. I hope you enjoyed the game,
Gunner King. You helped us get that win being there, I guess.
So, at the end of the day, like we said, we are in the last 16. What are your expectations going forward?
Yeah, it's all down to the draw. So, yeah, I was confirming that with Bobby. So they do a draw now on, what is it, Tuesday or something?
Yeah, for
Champions League in Europa.
32 teams, yeah.
So they don't map it out like, oh, this team is in this bracket, will win and play Arsenal later on. They do a whole new draw once.
After that one. So they'll have all the second place finishers, and then they'll have all the Champions League dropouts.
Yeah.
So
they'll do a whole new draw once the round of 32 is played. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how Ronaldo does back at the old lady.
Who they get?
But hey, it's what Luke says here. You know, we're 6 away from the final.
Yeah.
And I think that's in
we've had some
Hungary.
good Europa runs, whether it was Wenger or not Wenger, Armoury or Arteta. We've had some decent runs. Like it's time to maybe win this thing, man. Like I would love it. I don't know how old you were, but I remember a Cup Winners' Cup when I was a kid. And I was so pumped, man, when we won that thing. What was it? We beat Parma, wasn't it? Yeah. It was a long time ago now. But winning a European trophy, like that lasts forever, generations. Everyone will be always talking about
that. Gunner King, if you can, the link is in the chat. Jump in if you can, quick. If you're still by the stadium or whatever, we'd love to hear from you. We are going to sign off in the next couple of minutes, but if you can, do so.
Yeah, let's hear what the atmosphere was like, because sometimes Europa games are kind of, not the most pumped up. But I thought it sounded pretty good.
It did. I mean, to be fair,
better than most Europa met.
There was trouble before the game, apparently.
Really? Well, someone was saying something about protest, or was it a protest, or just?
Oh, I think it's something to do with the away fans, but they were loud. Oh. They were loud inside the ground, weren't they? You could hear them. But the Swiss, they are very passionate.
Zurich, what are you? Please.
Oh, yeah. I would have been 94.
Yeah, I love that one, man. That was one of my best memories. I was a teenager.
And then the year after just hurt, didn't it? Oh. We won't talk about Naeem, though, will we? But listen, this. I want to win this competition. Obviously, it's
great point, Luke. Like 6 games.
I would love
home and away.
With the teams we're going to be playing, and we've seen how we've done with some of these teams, we do need to strengthen.
So that would be starting February. Would be 16.
I think we'll be playing March,
early March, late February.
Because the final, I believe, the final was like the 31st of May, something like that.
It's probably early March.
So it'll be early March. But hey, there's a long time between now and then. We might get some new players in.
It's going to be a different kind of January.
Made up their games, so
I know a few podcasters and stuff were talking about that. It's going to be a different January window. I mean, I was saying this last year because of the World Cup, but the other factor of Arteta, Edu, these guys are just training around. They're going to Saudi or something. I mean, they're not doing it. There's going to be a lot of talk, a lot of little agent talks and deals and possibilities and watching World Cup and saying, hey, how about this guy or that guy? And then there's the Facundo Torres, like MLS is done this weekend, the final. There's players in MLS that we could sign too.
No, yeah, it's true.
It doesn't cost a shitload either.
It'd be interesting to see what happens between now.
I think it'll be an interesting January this year.
And
it's the whole January. Like it begins January 1st and it's just the whole month, right? Like usual.
And that's another thing about it being in March. The other thing about it being in March is the fact that we're definitely going to know where we are in terms of where we're going to be in the league.
What are we doing in the FA Cup? Yeah.
So it was very important that we did finish top of that group because February is not.
You can see why he was. Go ahead.
No, go on.
You can see why Arteta was taking. Everyone was like, "Hey, play the young guys, play some of these guys on the bench." He was taking a lot of these games and putting most of our starters in it. Like I don't want to mess around here. And Man U, they lost that first game, and look, Sociedad did so good that mattered huge that first game.
Definitely, I think it was like I said, it was really important to top that group because in March that is where we're gonna know where we are in the league.
Did you see that one group?
Or if we're going to be top 4, and I want us to win a trophy this season. Ultimately, that's what I want. And if we can't get the Premier League, the Europa League is the one for me.
Yeah,
because it's one we haven't won.
I love the FA Cup. It's our trophy. So go for it. But
yeah, but listen,
you see that one group, Tony? It was Group F. They were all tied 8 points, weren't they?
Were they? Which one was that?
Feyenoord and the Danish teams get in, and Lazio and Sturm Graz are out.
Yeah, Feyenoord won. They did. Yeah, they did.
But they were all 8 points. I don't think I've ever seen that before in Champions League or Europa.
Well, Tottenham's group was quite was close enough. It was
like 8-7, all on 8 points. So it went to just goal difference, eh?
That's incredible. Well, it goes on to head-to-head as well, doesn't it?
So Feyenoord won it. The Danes Michelin got in Lazio's conference.
Actually, interesting. Who were the group winners of each?
The groups. Yeah. So us and PSV, Fenerbahce and Stade Rennes. They're two pretty good teams. Oh, we got some bots here. I gotta go to.
Oh yeah, get rid of them. So yeah, your group winners are Fenerbahce, Real Betis, Royal Union, St. Gilles from Belgium, Real Sociedad, Feyenoord, Freiburg, and Ferencváros, where Monaco finished second in that group. So
those two unions, I kept getting them mixed up. Union SG and Union Berlin.
Was it? Yeah, because Royal Union, they finished top of the Belgian league, but they have a playoff system, didn't they? And they didn't win it in the end.
Roma second. What if it's Mourinho playing Man U? Oh no,
they can't play. They'll have to play a Champions League dropout.
Oh,
wait.
So it's not a draw like all the.
Yeah, they'll draw it So they'll have one pot.
Second place teams could get each other, or no? It's always Champions League versus. Oh, okay.
That's what I'm led to believe. So you've got. So Man United have to play either Ajax, Bayer Leverkusen, Barcelona, Sporting, Salzburg, Shakhtar Donetsk, Sevilla, Juventus. And you don't even want Sevilla because Sevilla got a good record in Europa League.
There's a lot of even Shakhtar is dangerous.
Shakhtar's dangerous. Salzburg, I mean, they're an established Europa League team. Yeah. Sporting Lisbon, European competition experience. So
Freiburg, they had a good run. They got.
I'll tell you who Man United will definitely get. They'll get Ajax.
Yeah. Ten Hag, that's just meant to be, hey?
It's definitely going to happen. But anyway, I'm going to end it there. At the end of the day, we're happy.
Junior Gamza, he says Al Neni. There we go.
And he was at the game, so
he could tell. El Sideways is El Magico sometimes.
I love El Neni. I'd love to meet him. I bet he's a really nice guy.
Yeah, he seems like a super dude.
He does. Humble, very humble. But yeah, like I said, we're going to end
so pumped, and he had such a good AFCON last year. Like Salah was barely doing anything. El Neni was awesome.
Yeah,
in the AFCON last year.
Anyway, it was job done.
Yeah.
Done what was needed. It was
glad to be part of the Army crew. It's a good bunch of guys. Please subscribe, everyone. Share it for other Arsenal fans in your life.
Exactly what you said. It's doing it for me. I don't even say anything now. Should I tell you what? You can close us off if you want. No, listen. It's been a
good
pleasure.
Things are coming. I don't know what you think about Chelsea, but man, they got pumped by Brighton. Like, we have a good opportunity here to really spread that gap.
But I think Bobby and Gio, I think they're previewing that tomorrow. So
on Armoury,
look out for that. And listen, as I said, job done. We're through to the last 16. We don't have to play any extra games in February, which is what we really wanted. So anyway, famous 1-0 to the Arsenal. This has been the Armoury TV. Moss, thanks for joining us. We're going to see more of you on this channel, hopefully.
Yeah.
And do check out, actually, Moss, do you want to just let the people know?
I do a lot of sports. Tony, me and him will be watching the NFL here, getting kicked off pretty soon. We're, on FTSN, Full-Time Sports Network too, some of us. And, we show NFL. We show, I do hockey, obviously, and MLS this Saturday. I'll be doing the MLS Cup final and then some hockey. But, Full-Time Sports Network, you guys check out that too, as well as the Armoury. Great bunch of guys, show lots of different sports, lots of talk, lots of watch-alongs. And, my channel's Football Sports Talk. But, we all like growing and helping each other and talking Arsenal.
That's it. Thanks again, Moss. Absolute pleasure. So like I said, there's going to be a preview for the Chelsea game coming up. I believe it's tomorrow. Keep an eye on the socials. The links are below. We'll keep you updated. But in the meantime, I've been the Silver One. He's been Moss. And it's finished 1-0 to the Arsenal.
Big ups.